Good morning, councillors. I'll open the meeting of the 25th of August, and thank you all for your attendance. We've got apologies today from Mayor Taylor, who is representing council at the South West Rock meeting in Brisbane, and of course our CEO Rob Haywood is also in attendance, and that's why Cam's joining me at the table today. Can I have someone move a apology for the Mayor? Councillor Hancock.
I move that apologies be received and leave of absence granted for Councillor Wendy Taylor for this meeting.
Thanks, Councillor Hancock. Seconded by Councillor Davis. I'll put that. All in favour?
Yes.
That's carried. And I should also note that Councillor Brendan Seawright is joining us virtually today. Councillor Davis, I know you, and Councillor Flynn, I know you, but can you just, your name is...
Are you going to get me confused?
Well, I won't. I didn't want other people to be confused, though.
Do you just need to call that?
And that was carried 8 votes to 0. Again, acknowledging Councillor Seawright is online. We've got the confirmation of the minutes. Is someone willing to move on the ordinary meeting of the 13th of August 2026? There is. Councillor Brumpton.
I move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 13th of August 2026 be confirmed.
Thanks, Councillor Brumpton. Seconded by Councillor Vincent. Does the mover wish to speak? No, I'll put that. All in favour?
Yes.
That's carried 8-0. First item is 10.1, a 2026 LGAQ Annual Conference, Councillor Attendance and Voting Arrangements. Councillor Hancock.
I move that Council 1 approve all councillors to attend the 2026 LGAQ Annual Conference at the Cairns Convention Centre on 19th to the 21st of October 2026. 2, nominate councillors Wendy Taylor and nominate councillors Wendy Taylor and Cameron O'Neill as its voting delegates for 2026 LGAQ Annual Conference. 3, draw applicable registration, travel and accommodation costs from attending councillors' conference budget allocation.
Thanks, Councillor Hancock. Is there a seconder? There is. Councillor Brumpton. Does the mover wish to speak?
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm really happy to support this today. Have done for every time this has come to the table since I've been a councillor, because councillors don't actually get very much PD. And so for me, this is an opportunity for us to go and receive some professional development. The items that are on the agenda and the information that we hear really does broaden our horizons to what can be done. We can learn by other councillors, not only their successes, but also, we do share the mistakes that they make as well, or what they experience. And so I think that this is a really important event for all councillors to have the opportunity to attend. But what really, really makes it important personally for me is this is the forum that we get to represent our community, to be able to feed up through LGAQ, through our motions, which we have 2 going up this year, to the state to be able to change policy. And that, to be able to witness that and be involved in that is really powerful to represent your community, to be able to change state policy. So for me, that's why I think it's really important that every councillor has an opportunity to attend, and very happy to support the recommendation today.
Thanks, Councillor Hancock. Speaker against? Further speaker for? I'm happy to speak in favour. I echo the sentiments shared by Councillor Hancock in respect to providing an opportunity for all councillors to attend the annual conference for local government. I think this is a really important opportunity annually that we can come together with our colleagues from right across the state to work on issues that are similar to the issues that we're working on, but also understanding some of the things that are headed in our direction, and we learn from others at these conferences and able to address things when they present themselves here. Equally, the resolutions that we have, I think by and large put forward nearly every single year, bar a couple, the resolutions that come out of this chamber into the conference, and then if supported by our colleagues across the state, become the policy of our association to advocate on our behalf. Of course, we've already resolved in a previous ordinary meeting that we will debate on the floor of this conference a community facilities, a program. We're headed towards a cliff in terms of our community facilities, halls, swimming pools as an example. These memorial assets are ageing, and we need the support at the state and Commonwealth level to be able to maintain and improve those and breathe life into them for our community. And so we've got a resolution that is going to be tabled at the LGAQ conference in October on that matter. And then, of course, we've got the matter about airport funding, which is a federal issue, but equally LGAQ represents us into the federal sphere as well. And it's an important one also to see the federal government investing into our smaller regional airports and the important role that they play for our community, particularly relating to having access to RFDS and alike into our smaller communities. So seeing the government support airport funding will be really important, and I'm hopeful that our colleagues across the state see these issues just as important. And that's why we need to have a seat at the table. And so thank you, Councillor Hancock, for nominating myself and the Mayor to speak on those two matters and other matters that will come before us to debate at conference, and I'm looking forward to attending myself in October. Are there any further speakers on this motion? There's not. Does the mover wish to sum up? She does not. I'll put that all in favour.
Yes.
That's carried 8-0. Next item is 10.2, monthly report, meeting actions, update July and outstanding actions August 2026. Is there a mover? There is. Councillor Vincent.
I move that council receive and note the officer's report as presented.
Thanks, Councillor Vincent. Is there a seconder? There is. Councillor Brumpton. Does the mover wish to speak?
No questions today.
Or any questions?
I'd just like to thank the staff for continuing to keep us up to speed with where they're at with our meeting motions that are passed during the meetings. So thank you to the staff.
Speaker against? Further speaker for? There's not. I'll put that all in favour.
Yes.
That's carried 8-0. The next item is 11.1, monthly financial report. Is there a mover? There is. Councillor Brumpton.
I move that council note the monthly financial report for the period ended 31st of July 2026.
Thanks, Councillor Brumpton. Is there a seconder? There is. Councillor Vincent. Does the mover wish to speak? Thanks, Councillor
Just
Brumpton.
briefly, thank you. First month of the financial year, it's very hard to get a good indicator. Obviously, capital projects are only at 3% because we're just getting going for the year. So the staff have given us confidence that everything's on track compared with what they had considered where we would be. So we'll just have to see how the year progresses. But I think this is not a surprising result for a first month for a financial year. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Brumpton. Councillor Davis, question?
Yes, just just an observation, if I may. With page 116.
Ruben or Brett, do you want to come down, please? Sorry, Councillor Davis.
That's okay. Just an observation. I don't think we would have had any tenders or contracts awarded, but on page 116, contracts awarded over 280K. I believe in our policy we adopted that we were going to advertise anything over 200. If that can just be fixed up for the next time. Thank you.
Any other questions, Councillor Vincent?
Only another thing, just on page 6 of 35, we probably know what it is because we know it's a quarry, but it's just got internal revenue from council pits is ahead of budget. If we can maybe have the word quarry, or just if people are reading it online and wondering where council pits are.
Yeah, thank you. We'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any further speakers? No. I'll put that all in favour.
Yes.
That's carried 8-0. Next item is 11.2, management agreement, option to renew Great Artesian Spa. Is there Councillor Brumpton?
I move that we defer this matter to come to council via a briefing.
Defer this matter to the next
Next
order
ordinary
to an
meeting.
upcoming ordinary meeting via a
Via
briefing.
Yes.
Bell, it'll just be matter to an upcoming ordinary meeting via a brief.
That council too.
It'll be
I'll
that
say it
council
now,
defer.
if you like. I'll re-say it, that council defer this matter to an upcoming ordinary meeting via a briefing.
That's moved by Councillor Brumpton, seconded by Councillor Vincent. Does the mover wish to speak?
No.
I'll put that. All in favour?
Yes.
That's carried 8-0. Next item is 13.1, Community Events Assistance Round 3. Is there a mover? Oh, Councillor Burkett, you've got a conflict. Please go ahead.
Conflict on item 13.1, Community Events Assistance Round 3. Declaring council as myself, I inform the meeting that I have a material personal interest due to being the president of the Mitchell RSL Combined Sports Club. Mitchell Rodeo has listed its report as it is one of the clubs under the governing body. I will now leave the meeting and not participate in the decision.
Thanks, Councillor Burkett. No other conflicts? Councillor Burkett's left the room. Is there a mover? Councillor Vincent.
I move that Council 1 endorse the assessment panel's recommendations and approve the following Round 3 Events Assistance Program application for payment. Western Districts Rifle Association, Muckadilla Rifle Club, 2026 Sporter Challenge, $500. Noonga Community Association, 2-day tennis tournament, $500. Roma State College Parents and Citizens Association, State School Fete, $1,000. Injune Campdraft Association, Injune Golden Bit Campdraft, $1,000. Mitchell Rodeo Association Annual Event, $1,000. 2 draw associated funds of $4,000 from the Events Assistance GL 2887.2251.2001.
Thanks, Councillor Vincent. Is there a seconder?
Happy to second back.
Councillor Hancock,
I have a question.
you're seconding, but you have a question? Yep.
Yep.
Please go ahead.
Through the chair. Injune Campdraft had their camp draft on the weekend. Is that this money isn't for that camp draft? It's for
Yep. So through the chair, as per the policy, they did get their application in on time during the closing. So they got it in before the closing time. There's nothing in the policy that says that they can't run the event in between that period of us assessing the actual application. So as long as the application is in before the closing date and the event doesn't run before that, they are still able to apply. We do encourage our groups to allow enough lead time. However, that didn't happen in this particular situation, and we have approved other groups in the same manner as well, where their event has unfortunately run before the actual ability to be able to assess, but the assessment also happened before the event. It was only because of the council meeting not being able to happen before the event.
so I'm fully supportive of giving $1,000 to the Injune. I don't have a problem with supporting the Injune camp draft, but I think we have a problem with our process here, because how can we done that but yet today we could have actually voted against that. It actually isn't done until it comes to this table, in my understanding. And so, because today we could vote against it. And so therefore, for me as a councillor, because it hasn't come to the table, do we know, was council acknowledged as a sponsor on the day? Were we, did they have the signs? Did they have the community event signs to say that they were? I'm really concerned with the process.
So, Councillor, just on that, as far as I'm aware, we have not advised the Injune Campdraft that they have been successful, obviously, because it needs to come to this table before we can advise them of that. That doesn't address some of the things you just raised, obviously.
Yeah,
with
because
this.
they haven't been advised, so therefore they didn't know they have the money, so therefore they haven't been able to advise. We have been on no, which is also part of the policy that we must be, if we're giving money, that there is some sort of a.
So as you'd be aware, we're in the process of revising that policy. We did bring it to the table a little while ago, but we had to take it off for certain reasons. So if we haven't picked that up in the revised policy, we'll make sure there's some commentary in there in relation to the timing of the event. And make it a little bit, I suppose, a little bit tighter.
This is news to me that this policy has changed, because forever and a day you couldn't get money from council until it's been okayed through a council meeting, because
So
it could be changed.
The policy hasn't changed. The policy hasn't changed. We presented a policy to you the last general meeting, ordinary meeting. At that stage, it was put on the table. There was some discussion held after that, and it was resolved that it basically either lay on the table or was dismissed for now until we brought back another policy. So the current policy is the current policy.
Within the policy, it only states that you are ineligible if your event has run before the closing date. It does not state that the event, like if the event in between that closing date and the assessment plus the council meeting, there's nothing in there that says their event can't happen between then and there.
So I'm mindful that I've let that run because I think it's an important conversation. But I mean, the matter at hand today is the assessment. There's obviously some questions around how the policy is being interpreted and enacted. I think that's a discussion for another day, which we should rectify pretty quickly to make sure that everyone is on the same page. But if the advice is that it is the advice we've been given that it can be done, we've got a live resolution. It's been moved and seconded. Does the mover wish to speak?
Yes, I will speak on this one. I acknowledge Councillor Hancock's concerns. I did raise them after the assessment panel day when I realised that this wouldn't make it to the council meeting before the event. I can also let you know that the signage was up because council also gave some in-kind support with the use of the tipper truck. So the Maranoa regional sign was up at the campdraft on the weekend. So I do acknowledge your concerns, and the policy, we will have to look at it because I did have the same questions. But thank you to the groups who once again put in these applications to support these events. They bring so much vitality and life to our small communities, and I think it's really beneficial if we're able to assist in some way, shape or form.
Thanks, Councillor Vincent. Is there a speaker against? Further speaker for? Councillor Hancock?
Yeah, I'm always happy to support the recommendations that come through. I think the Events Assistance Program is great. I think, I can only add to Councillor Vincent, these events, like the economic development that would have happened in Injune on the weekend would have been huge for that community. I know that because I've seen the same thing that happened in Surratt on the weekend. And so these events are just essential for our communities to be able to go ahead and thrive, and it's great that council's been able to put some of the funding towards it. I am concerned about that policy, and and through the Deputy CEO, I'll ask for a copy of the existing policy that we're under at the moment. So, congratulations to all the people who have put in an application. It's good to see that everyone got up. So we just encourage the community to keep on putting in applications.
Thanks, Councillor Hancock. Any further speakers? There's not. Does the mover wish to sum up? No. I'll put that. All in favour?
Yes.
That's carried 7-0.
20.
Thanks, Councillor Brumpton. Next item is 13.2, Development Application, Material Change of Use, Caretakers Accommodation, 90 to 92 Crystal Street, Roma. Is there a mover? There is. Councillor Flynn.
I'd like to move the development application for a material change of use for caretakers accommodation located at 90 to 92 Crystal Street, Roma. Queensland 4455, described as Lot 88 on R8627, be approved subject to the listed conditions and general advice below.
Thanks, Councillor Flynn. Is there a seconder? There is. Councillor Burkett. Does the mover wish to speak?
Yes, just to say that public notification about this application has been carried out in accordance with the DA rules. There were no properly made submissions received in relation to the development, and all the DA rules that enable council to make a decision of this nature have been fulfilled.
Thanks, Councillor Flynn. Speaker against? Further speaker for? There's not. I'll put the motion. Those in favour?
Yes.
That's carried 8-0. Next item is 13.3, application through Regional Arts Development Fund RADF program 2026-2027.
I don't really have a conflict.
No,
but-
you don't.
No, oh, I'm happy to move.
Is there a move? There is. Councillor Brumpton.
I move that council endorses the RADF committee's grant assessment recommendation and approve the funding of $1,200 from the RADF budget GL 2885.2250 to support the Bimount Creative Circle workshop with Ruth McAllister.
Thanks, Councillor Brumpton. Seconded by Councillor Hancock. Does the mover wish to speak?
Yes, it's great to see this is our first application through for this financial year. Last year, RADF was actually oversubscribed, so for the first time ever. We have just also put out new RADF guidelines, which are simplified and done an advertising campaign, thanks to the staff for the work around that. So I really look forward to further applications this financial year. I will note that I did declare a conflict for the committee, but I don't actually meet the conflict of interest guidelines, so I'm happy to still put this to the council.
Thanks, Councillor Brumpton. Is there a speaker against? Further speaker for? Councillor Hancock.
Yeah, I'm happy to support this. Sorry, John. Happy to support this today. And look, just want to acknowledge Bimount Creative Circle are such an active committee, and it is amazing some of the workshops and projects that they do out there in that region. And yeah, always commend them for their applications that they put in. And I also do want to note that it's exciting for us for this application that the workshop is from an emerging artist from within our region, from Surat. And so that's a bit exciting that we're actually, we are building, it is working, we are building within our region local artists that can go into other areas of the region and share their craft. So, yeah, very happy to support this today.
Thanks, Councillor Hancock. Any further speakers who wish to sum up? No, I'll put the motion. Those in favour?
Yes.
That's carried 8-0. Next item is 14.1, Queensland Government Notice of Extension to the Regulation Passenger Transport Contract Roma to Brisbane, the Central 1 route. Is there a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I move that Council 1 note the correspondence from the Department of Transport and Main Roads advising that it has exercised a 12-month extension of the regulated aviation service contract into Roma, with the current arrangements now continuing until 31 December 2027. 2, authorise the Mayor to write to the Minister for Transport and Main Roads strongly advocating for the tender process for the next regulated aviation service contract to commence no later than December 2026, to avoid any further extension of the current contract beyond 31 December 2027. And 3, request a further briefing on Council's existing partnership agreement with Rex Airlines, which expires on 31st of December 2026 and is therefore no longer aligned with the expiry date of the Queensland Government's regulated air service contract.
Thanks, Councillor Hancock. Is there a seconder? There is. Councillor Brumpton. Councillor Hancock, just wondering if you'd consider in point 1, just expanding on in the second line, advising that the Queensland Government has exercised a 12-month extension of the regulated aviation service.
Happy to accept that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Second.
All right, the mover and seconder are happy with that suggestion. Does the mover wish to speak?
I do, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Hancock.
Thank you, Chair. I'm moving this today because this is the decision that the state government has made, and we think it's important that our community know about this decision. We also think it's really important to know that for this decision, this council has advocated really, really, really hard. We didn't want the extension, but that's not our decision. And so we have taken all the feedbacks from the surveys, from the community consultations. We've provided that through to the state government, and we advocated really hard for the extension not to happen and for it to go to contract. But we understand that this is the state's decision and they've got their own reasons for how they make their decisions. So our next point of call, our next step is exactly what it says in point 2, where we will now go and we will advocate that the extension isn't to go any further than the December 2026. So just want to assure our community that we are still advocating very hard on their behalf with everything around the contract for the airlines that operate at the airport.
Thanks, Councillor Hancock. Speaker against? Further speaker for? Councillor Brumpton.
Just supporting what Councillor Hancock has said. I suppose I'm quite disappointed that despite our strong advocacy and the very long lead time and the issues with RECs, both administration issues and service provision, that we've got to the stage where this is another extension, which is impacting on our community's access to stable air service. But all we can do is continue to advocate. We do now have work to do on the resident fares and what that means now that the council contract expires with the current provider at the end of the year. So it'll be a watch this space on how we work through that, and I'm sure we'll keep the community advised as we do that. But we've done what we can, and I think it is important that the community knows where this is sitting currently.
Thanks, Councillor Brumpton. Any further speakers? I'll speak. I too acknowledge the decision that the state has made in respect to the extension for 12 months. Our advocacy has been strong and extensive, and one of the pieces in that advocacy, of course, has been to go to tender at the earliest possible opportunity. But second to that, it was that we wanted the Queensland government to consult with the community, because in the previous tender process, that didn't occur. And pleasingly, we saw 2 government-led consultation forums happen here in the Maranoa. And in addition to that, we, of course, did our own community consultation to ensure that we were turning the anecdotal comments that we were getting on a regular basis as councillors into data. And that came in loud and clear from 651 respondents, that they just wanted a better outcome in terms of the regular passenger air service in and out of Roma that supports our entire Maranoa community. And so we've provided that to government. That's been the warts and all have been provided into the state. Correction, that was 649 respondents. I found another 2, but it was 649. Whilst we've got to accept the decision of the state because it rests with them in terms of the extension, we now need to ensure that they do go to tender by the close of this calendar year to give us much time for a competitive tender process to occur, that our suggestions and our wants and needs in terms of a community are listened to and can be included in that broader contract from what now will be the 1st of January 2028 onwards. So the work of council continues in terms of our advocacy. I am sure there are times where the minister's raised his eyebrows at the number of occasions the mayor and I have raised this issue amongst a whole heap of other issues relating to his portfolio, but this one is a topic that we have discussed at great length, and we now need to continue that advocacy. As Councillor Brumpton alluded to, and it's point 3 of the resolution, we now need to turn our mind as a council to the final 12 months of the regulated air service provided by the current contractor there, and in relation to the agreement that we as a council have inherited, and we'll be having conversations in the coming weeks in relation to that as well. So I think this is an important step. One, to acknowledge the correspondence from the state informing us of this, authorising and empowering the mayor to continue that strong advocacy as the leader of our council into the state, and of course triggering point 3 to get the conversation started from a staffing level into rec. So I fully support the resolution before us today. Any further speakers?
Just ask a question. I look on
Councillor
page
Flynn.
178 of our minutes, extension of the regulated air service contract. I note there that it indicates the current arrangements now continuing until the 31st of December 2027. Does that indicate to us that the Queensland Government, through the Department of Transport and Main Roads, is not going to ask for any changes to the services provided? And also it says on this report, a copy of the correspondence from TNR is included as an attachment to this report. I don't see a copy of that correspondence in my minutes.
Thanks, Councillor Flynn. CEO, Deputy CEO.
Yeah, through the chair, Councillor Flynn, there was a typographic error with the attachment. It was circulated via separate cover by the mayor. The letter, probably the contents that are important from the letter are in this report. So from a public point of view, in response to your question around the continuation of the regulated services, obviously the contract is directly between the state government and Rex Airlines, so we don't have direct visibility. But the advice we're being provided is it's a continuation of the current services. Councils are continuing to advocate for the feedback we're getting from our communities, more services more regularly in that. But the government at this stage have clearly made it that it's a continuation of the existing services. But so yeah, same timetable from what I understand in that. So.
You right?
Yes.
Any further speakers? Does the mover wish to sum up? With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour?
Yes.
That's carried 8-0. We'll now move to the late agenda. One item on the late agenda, L1, Colts Cricket Oval Upgrade, consideration for project scope and budget amendment. Is there a mover? There is. Councillor Flynn.
I'll move that Council 1 approve an amendment to the project scope in line with option 3A to deliver an overall improvement to the intended project outcome, including an enhanced tough playing surface, that's good to comment on, improve resilience and an earlier return to play. Increase the overall budget project to $285,000 excluding GST, including the additional contribution from Roma District Cricket Association of $10,000, with the remaining $75,000 funded through the reallocation of available funds from work order 26002, Arthur Street curb and channel upgrade.
Thanks, Councillor Flynn. Is there a seconder? There is. Councillor Burkett. Does the mover wish to speak?
So just
Sorry, Councillor Flynn, we've got a question. Councillor Vincent?
Just with the 2 tanks coming out no longer required, was that part of our funding? Were we covering the cost of those tanks, and was that money coming back to this project budget?
Through the chair, Councillor Vincent, it has been factored into the figures that I've accounted for here. There was originally 2 tanks allowed, but the feed coming in is greater than the pump going back out. So normally you have two tanks where the feed coming in is less than what you're pumping out, but because the feed coming in is greater, it's just essentially a balancing tank that just takes the pressure off. But in terms of the figures I've accounted for in the report, essentially there's a negative number. If I wasn't taking the tank out, that request would be higher. The value of the tank would be higher. So instead of, without disclosing specific numbers, instead of 285 increase, it might be a 290 increase, but I've already factored the removal of the tank in discussion with the contractor. So
Okay. And my other question was around the pump, the three, like with the change to the power there. Will they upgrade the pump once the power's upgraded there? Will that be an ongoing thing?
Yeah, no, thank you. I've done a lot of assessment of that pump. What we've said all along is it's not about a compromise. So it's a single phase pump that meets all the technical requirements of the design. Check the pump curve and all of that sort of stuff. So we're comfortable that this pump does not need to be then replaced when there's a three-phase upgrade. The pump's more than adequate to handle. It's just a single-phase pump. So it's actually a three-phase pump, but it's just got a brain box that gets put onto it to transfer it back to single-phase. So it's it's more than adequate. We won't have to replace the pump when the three-phase upgrade. I just had to make a decision on it and that. But yeah, I don't look at this second single-phase pump as we've now compromised because of it. It's an equivalent, and that. So
purpose.
yeah, definitely. So,
Any further questions? Councillor Flynn, do you want to speak?
Yeah, I'd just like to recommend this motion to councillors today. I know it's a fair increase in what our original budget was for option 3. However, it is well below the full reconstruction and turfing of the oval that we were quoted originally of $650,000. Again, I believe it will add to the entrance to the town of Roma with regard to what's happening with the rugby union fields and the area across the road for the sculptures, with the work that's going to be carried out in that particular area. And I recommend this to be approved, and it certainly will give a great deal of benefit to not only senior cricket but also the junior cricketers that had an increase in numbers last year, and hopefully we'll be able to see another increase in numbers in the 26-27 season.
Thanks, Councillor Flynn. Speaker against? Councillor Brumpton.
I fully support the project scope and I fully support the enhanced TIF-TUF playing service. I think that there's a very big value in that. I actually don't support the project budget coming from curbing and channeling. I think savings in curbing and channeling should go back to curbing and channeling. We've had a briefing on what we're doing for curbing and channeling, and it's not a lot because we don't have a lot of budget available for that. So I'm not supportive of the funding coming from curbing and channeling.
Thanks, Councillor Brumpton. Further speaker 4, Councillor Burkett.
Yeah, I take on board what Councillor Brumpton says, but we seem to do this a lot with Rob and Peter pay Paul. Hopefully the next one will go back towards the channel and curbing. But I also think that with these big projects, especially on sporting fields, we get it right the first time and not have to come back and revisit. We had a similar situation when we had to go back to the union grounds and do an extra bit of work there. So if we can get this right, it'll be done straight up to be used and hopefully never have to revisit to get it repaired. So I do take on board that it is taking from some other fund, but like I said, hopefully we can turn that around next time.
Thanks, Councillor Burkett. For a further speaker against, there is Councillor Davis.
Thank you. As Councillor Brumpton, I agree. I am very supportive of this project. This project has been approved across multiple years. Not saying that it won't be done, I just believe that the funds should not come from a curb and channel project. Curb and channel is an important component of our local road network, providing both a local core government function and a significant visual impact within our communities. Given that there are no curb and channel projects adopted in this year's budget, I believe if the elements of a committed curb and channel project have been deferred to form part of a larger program in the future, the remaining $200,000 plus budget should instead be allocated to another curb and channel project in our region. Staff have provided several options for the funding in the report. And given the timing of grant rounds, I am comfortable with using the funds that we have set aside pending a successful grant application to the Disaster Recovery Fund to be considered as part of the 27-28 budget. This does not detract from the original intent of the levy project. Additional rock protection works on the Roma levy in the Priority 1 section will still be delivered. Again, to sum up, I'm fully supportive of this motion. We should finish this project and be done with it to a standard where kids and adults can be back playing on the field. My only concern is taking it from a curb and channel project. I believe it should come from the levy bank, money that has been put away pending a successful grant application.
Thanks, Councillor Davis. A further speaker for, but of course I might just suggest that anyone can move an amendment at any point that they wish to do so. Councillor Brumpton.
I'm very happy to move an amendment that Council 1 approve the amendment to the project scope in line with option 3A to deliver an overall improvement to the intended project outcome, including an enhanced TIF-tough playing service, improved resilience and an earlier return to play. 2, increase the overall project budget to $285,000 excluding GST, including the additional $10,000 contribution from the Roma District Cricket Association, with the remaining $75,000 funded through the reallocation of available funds from work order 26581, Roma Levy additional rock installation.
Thanks, Councillor Brumpton. Just for clarity, whilst you read it all out, your amendment is you're proposing to
Change
option
point
2 with the work order. You've moved that amendment. Does the mover and seconder accept that amendment?
Yes, I'll accept that.
The mover is accepted. The seconder has accepted it. That now is the motion. Are there further speakers? We had a speaker again. Is there a speaker for? Councillor Hancock.
I'm happy to support this project. I do acknowledge that we are adding more money to the project than was originally intended, but I think it's for the right reasons. I agree with Councillor Burkett. I think that by doing that, we are doing it once and we're doing it right and we're giving it the best opportunity to be a successful project. I also agree with Councillor Flynn. I think it'll be a wonderful upgrade to the entrance of Roma and to that whole precinct that Council's just been chipping away at. And so fully supportive of this motion, and I'm happy to support that the budget comes out of the Roma levy work order number. That makes sense, what Councillor Brumpton and Councillor Davis has put forward, and so happy to support the project as it stands.
Thanks, Councillor Hancock. Any speakers against? Further speaker for? Does the mover wish to sum up? Councillor Flynn.
I think everything's been said so far. Again, just looking again at the support of junior cricket. I think that's one of the things that we need to make sure that we address in this proposal.
Thanks, Councillor Flynn. With that, I'll put the motion. Those in favour?
Yes.
That's carried 8-0. Is there any further business, councillors? Councillor Davis.
Thank you. I'd just quickly like to acknowledge the Maranoa Business Awards that has just come out. It was great scrolling through Facebook this morning and seeing that they've announced some finalists of the Business Customer Service Awards. 4 of which are Council's own staff members. So congratulations to Leah Tribe, Maddie Dennis, Tani Williams and Kayla Duncan on your nominations. It's wonderful to be acknowledged for the work you do every day. There was a total of 61 individual and 25 business nominations across our region. So I'd like to encourage everyone to jump on to Roma Commerce and Tourism's Facebook page and cast your votes.
Thanks, Councillor Davis. Any further business? There's not. I'll close the meeting and at 9:46, and thank you for your attendance.